Last year, I did 2 photo shoots and ran Valencia Marathon, which sounds impressive until you factor in by the end of it, my hormones were completely in the bin, my energy was non-existent, and my body was essentially sending me a letter saying, brother, you need to eat something. So I decided it's time to bulk. So I bulked 18 weeks, slow, controlled, focusing on not getting fat and doing a lean bulk properly. And something actually happened, not just to how I look, but how I performed in the gym, and honestly, to how I feel being human again. And this video is all about that. And here's what most bulking videos don't tell you about. If you spend a long duration of time in a calorie deficit, like a serious one getting lean, it's not just your body composition that takes a hit, it's also your hormones. And don't get me wrong, I love being lean. Being lean is sick, but also your hormones are super important as a guy. But the thing is, I didn't realize how bad I felt. I felt better than I did when I was on really low calories on the shoot prep, but I still just didn't feel like myself. Testosterone levels in the bin, energy low, recovery slow. And as an online coach myself, this is the exact things I guide my own clients through. And I have a coach myself who is also helping me out in this situation. So I knew after the marathon, it was the perfect opportunity to go into a long bulk. So this bulk was focused on about adding muscle tissue to my physique, getting bigger, adding more size, and also sorting out my hormones, because that's super important to me and should be for you as well. So let's do the visual comparison first, because I know that's the most important thing that you want to see, bro. An honest caveat to this, a bulk before and after is always significantly misleading because you're comparing 2 different body fat levels, which makes it harder to see what actually changed in terms of muscle. The real comparison is either same body fat or same body weight, but it's real hard to see the true differences until you actually cut down again. But that's why I always say to clients, when we're focusing on gaining and bulking, training performance is the key priority. I can definitely see there's a clear improvement in terms of size and mass to these photos, and honestly, in terms of how I feel like a new bloke. And you can see I've basically doubled my testosterone levels as well and got my hormones back up to a better place. And now from that point, I'm even pushing them higher up further by focusing on my sleep, adding more healthy fats into my diet, some supplementations, but I'm going to do a full video on this of how I've managed to double my testosterone levels naturally. You can definitely see there's more muscle and size on my frame, and the condition is still holding up as well, which was the whole point of keeping this nice, slow and controlled. Now let's actually go on to the training performance, because this is the best part of gaining and what I'm really proud about throughout this process. Every single lift I care about hitting an all-time personal best during this bulk. Every single one, bro. Do you know how good that feels? One that I had to mention, which is my favorite exercise of all time, is incline dumbbell press, and I managed to hit the 55 kgs, which is some pretty impressive weight for 5 reps, I think it was. For 4 or 5 reps, which I'm very gassed about. And that's a number I generally think I wouldn't even get to, because when I first started the gym, I started lifting the 14s on that exercise. So that growth has been crazy. It wasn't all about chest as well. My squats got to a pretty respectable weight, and all my other lifts just went up in general as well. So training performance was through the roof. And there's something different when you've been cutting for a long period of time and you go into a bulk. You just have this sort of animal instincts when you're in the gym. And I like to call it, you start bullying the weights. Every session, as cringy as it sounds, I was going to war, because it was focused on progressing the weight, getting stronger, just hitting all-time PBs, so it was so sick. Now, strength gains during a bulk aren't guaranteed, but they're one of the clearest signals that something real is happening. You can argue about what you see in the mirror, but you can't really argue with the numbers in the gym. And honestly, a lot of this came down to just my ruthless consistency, sorting my hormones out, and just being so consistent throughout this process, because I'm someone who finds it hard to eat a lot of food for a long duration of time, because naturally I'm just a skinny guy. But I absolutely smashed these 18 weeks and I didn't really miss a beat. Now let's go on to my diet and training, because to be honest, it was ruthlessly simple. Throughout bulks, most people mess this up where they just focus on adding thousands of calories and eating anything on site because you are bulking. That's not the case. That's just stupid, all right? You want to focus on a steady rate of gain throughout the whole 18 weeks. In my case, that's what I did. And the key drivers of success was training performance and a steady rate of gain. My rate of gain throughout this process was anywhere from 0.3 to 0.6 kg a week. I didn't want to gain a kilo a week because that's far too much in terms of that'd be too much body fat in my case. So how I did this was I'm pretty ruthless with tracking all my food. After I did Valencia Marathon, we went straight from my maintenance calories, hovering up to a calorie surplus from being in a deficit for a while, and then slowly added more food. I train 5 days a week, but for most people and my clients, I usually recommend anywhere from 3 to 4. I just train 5 because I have the time available and I do love training, with the goal of progressing my lifts in the gym. Progressive overload, more reps, more weight over time on things that mattered. Nothing that wasn't the basics. The PRs came from turning up consistently, eating enough to recover, and not getting in my own way. Simple as that, people. You don't need to overcomplicate your goals. Mental side of gaining that not many people speak about, because I spent a long period of time in a dieting phase and I love being lean, and I was attached to how I looked for that photo shoot. So I said to my coach, I really didn't want to gain, but I knew my body needed that. So I had to put the mental side of being attached emotionally to being lean and understand my body needs to gain.
It'll be an emotional roller coaster in off season. You won't enjoy it, and I'll tell you that for facts. But trust me when I say this, it'll be the best thing you ever do, because then you've got that wow factor.
But that emotional attachment, it is hard to shift. But by having someone in your corner every single week to give yourself that kick up the arse and say, get out your own head, is 100% needed. And I'll be honest, throughout this process, probably for the first sort of 3 to 4 weeks, I said to my coach, I don't want to do it. I hate getting softer. I don't like gaining body fat. But he was there to hold me accountable every single week and give me that kick up the arse and tell me to get out my own head, which was needed at the time. There were days that I felt softer that I wanted to and tempted just to go straight back to cutting. But I'm pretty glad I didn't do that, because everything really started to compound when I got to week sort of 5, 6, 7, 8, and the training performance and how I felt was literally night and day difference. So where does this leave us now, and why did I stop bulking? So the main reason why I stopped is because appetite got to a point where it's all-time low. I didn't want to push food anymore, and it's slowly getting to summer in the UK, so I thought it's only right time to start get to lean again. 18 weeks, which is around 4 months, I was pretty happy with how long I committed to this phase, and really happy with what I saw in the mirror in terms of muscle gain. So it's time to pull back the body fat and see what we're looking like underneath. Was the bulk worth it? 100%. It recovered my hormones, added more muscle to my frame, and I feel like a new guy, so I'm gassed to get lean again. So I would recommend you guys commit to the phases. Think of the long-term mission of physique development, because if you only bulk for 4 or 5 weeks, realistically, you're not really going to add much muscle to your frame. So always have the long term in your mind. Also, I would strongly recommend getting your bloods done, whether you're in a calorie deficit, whether you've been gaining, whatever the case. If you've never got them done, get them done right now, because you never know what's happening if you've never seen that data before. And most guys have lower testosterone levels than they think. If you need some help with that, just drop me a message on Instagram or a comment below and I'll show you exactly what I did. I will be making a video on this as well. Now, I also do this with my clients on a one-to-one basis. So if you want to go through a gaining phase, if you want to go through a cut, if you're not sure how to structure things around nutrition, training, around actual life, drop me a message on Instagram, we can have a chat. If not, no problems at all. Continue watching the videos and hit that subscribe button to follow along with the cut. And also, YouTube recommends you watch this video. See you in the next one. So in a bit, people.